As morning light crept into the room, Olivia Hartman stared at the crumbling edges of her dreams. She clenched her fists, struggling to contain the storm of emotions that threatened to spill over. Her father's office felt more like a battlefield than a place of discussion, his office chair a throne of dismissive authority. Benjamin Hartman, a figure of calm authority, leaned back into the plush leather, his gaze unyielding. "This is not up for debate, Olivia," he declared, extinguishing his cigar with an air of finality. Olivia's teeth pressed together, framing her determination. "So that's it?" Her voice was a sharp blade. "You're choosing to hand everything over to Dylan, despite his indifference, just because I'm not what you expect?" Benjamin remained unfazed, a fortress of conviction. "The firm is meant for your brother, Olivia," he stated plainly. "You've excelled at Columbia and you'll make a wonderful partner, but this is not your role." In that moment, Olivia was Olivia Hartman, 26, a Columbia graduate lawyer who dedicated herself to the legal world, hoping to follow in her father's footsteps at Hartman Legal Associates, a renowned law firm in Denver. But as she absorbed the lingering scent of leather and tobacco, she felt her aspirations evaporate. Her achievements, her passion, they meant nothing to him. To Benjamin, she was merely a daughter, destined for social obligations rather than professional achievements. She met her father's gaze with unyielding intensity. "Dylan doesn't care about this firm, Dad. He's reckless, his college years at Community barely notable, and he can't manage a business. You know this." Benjamin sighed, rubbing his temple as if her defiance tested his patience. "Dylan will learn. He's my son, Olivia. It's his birthright to lead Hartman Legal Associates." His voice softened slightly, hinting at misplaced paternalism. "You have other paths to pursue, ones that don't involve the burdens of running a firm. I'm looking out for you." A sardonic laugh broke free from Olivia's tightly controlled demeanor. "Looking out for me?" She shook her head. "You're not protecting me, Dad. You're restricting me. I've earned this through sheer grit, and you see it. Yet, you won't offer a chance because you're entrenched in outdated beliefs." His expression steeled at her words, signaling an unwillingness to relent. "That's enough, Olivia," he cut her off, authority lacing his voice. "We're done here." Her departure from his office reverberated with the rhythmic click of her heels on the polished marble, echoing through the grand corridors of their family estate. She encountered her mother, Sophia, engaged in the quiet assembly of floral arrangements. Sophia's expression mirrored concern and weariness as she regarded her daughter. "Olivia," Sophia called softly, sensing an upheaval. "What happened?" Olivia halted, meeting her mother's gaze with a blend of frustration and despair. "He won't let me join the firm," she revealed, her voice trembling. "He's giving everything to Dylan and expects me to accept it without objection." Sophia sighed, her hands pausing over the roses. "Your father has his ways," she murmured with a hint of reluctance. "Perhaps it's better not to contest him, dear. He believes he's acting in your interest." Olivia's disbelief was palpable. "In my interest?" she echoed incredulously. Her voice rose with righteous anger. "He's discarding my ambitions solely because I'm a woman. How can you defend that stance?" Sophia averted her gaze, an embodiment of years spent in passive acceptance. "I don't want you to get hurt, Olivia," she whispered. "Sometimes allowing things to be is the lesser pain." The weight of her mother's resignation settled around Olivia like a heavy fog. She realized she stood alone in this struggle. That evening, as she lay in bed staring at the shadows dancing across the ceiling, her father's words loomed large, a testament to the barriers placed before her. She reminisced on the long nights consumed by legal texts, the debates that defined her time at Columbia, sacrifices made to uphold the Hartman legacy, to be deemed unworthy, reduced to a potential alliance through marriage. Morning found her amidst half-packed suitcases, determined to carve her own path. The quiet hinge song of her bedroom door interrupted her plans. In the doorway stood her mother, concern etching her features. "Olivia, what's happening?" Sophia questioned, worry inflecting her words. Before Olivia could respond, The towering presence of her father filled the threshold, setting the stage for the next act in their tangled family drama. As the first light of dawn filtered through the drawn curtains, Olivia Hartman made a decision that would chart a new path, one where she no longer felt confined by her family's expectations. Behind her, the door creaked open, revealing the stern face of her father, Benjamin Hartman, whose patience was woven thin by her defiance. "What's all this about?" he demanded, stepping into the room with a hint of cold authority. "Where do you think you're going?" Olivia's brother, Dylan, arrived moments later, leaning lazily against the doorframe in his bathrobe, exuding a nonchalance that seemed to mock the gravity of the moment. "Packing for a vacation, sis?" he asked with a sardonic grin, confident in the immovable status quo of the family dynamics. Olivia zipped her suitcase with finality, standing as a pillar of determination. "I'm leaving," she stated clearly. "Since I'm not welcome at Hartman Legal Associates and apparently not considered in this family's future, I'm going to find a place that values me." Her father's expression grew darker, while her mother, Sophia, clutched her pearls as though they alone could anchor her unraveling world. "Olivia," Sophia implored softly, her voice fragile with distress, "don't do this. We can talk." Olivia shook her head, unwavering in her resolve. "There's nothing to discuss, Mom. The priorities here have been crystal clear." She had no intention of lingering in a house where her worth was measured by outdated ideals. Benjamin stepped forward, his jaw set like stone. "Don't be ridiculous, Olivia," he insisted, a cold edge to his tone. "This is your home. Where would you possibly go, and for what?" "To make a point." Her gaze met his unwavering. "Yes, Dad," she replied, her voice steady and strong. "To make a point that I'm worth more than being sidelined for someone unprepared for the fortune being handed to him." Dylan chuckled dismissively, arms crossed in smug superiority. "You're making a mountain out of nothing, Olivia," he taunted. "You're just upset because Dad isn't giving you the keys to the kingdom." Olivia's patience snapped. "This isn't a tantrum, Dylan," she retorted. "It's me claiming ownership of my life, something you've never had to do with everything handed to you." Benjamin's raised hand silenced them both. "Enough," he commanded sternly. "You're not leaving, Olivia. You belong here with your family." Olivia lifted her suitcase with a sigh of finality. "No, Dad. I belong where I'm valued, and that's clearly not here." She moved past them, her footsteps determined as they echoed through the stately halls. Sophia followed, her voice a quivering whisper of desperation. "Olivia, please don't go," she pleaded. "We can work this out together." Stopping at the base of the grand staircase, Olivia turned, her heart heavy with sadness and determination. "Mom, I love you, but I can't keep pretending things will change if I stay." "They won't." Standing at the top of the stairs, Benjamin watched with an unreadable expression, while Dylan lounged against the banister, seemingly untouched by her departure. Olivia opened the grand front door, pausing for a final glance. "When you're ready to see me as more than a daughter bound for marriage and a life unchosen, you know where to find me," she said, calm yet firm. She stepped into the brisk morning air, letting the door close on a life she was finally leaving behind. Days later, Olivia found herself in an interview with one of the most prestigious law firms in Denver. They were indifferent to her being a Hartman. All they valued were her accomplishments and drive. Entering the firm, she wasn't merely the daughter of Benjamin Hartman, but Olivia Hartman, Columbia graduate and resolute lawyer. By the week's end, she received a job offer, a validation of her worth beyond familial ties. The work was challenging, exactly what she craved, in an environment where comparisons to her brother ceased to exist. Her new mentor, Lucas Bennett, a dynamic visionary, recognized her potential and encouraged her ambition, allowing her to handle significant cases within mere months. It wasn't the life Olivia once envisioned, but it was hers, crafted from her determination and resilience. Still, the professional success didn't fully ease the ache of separation. There were evenings when returning to an empty apartment after a demanding day underscored the enormity of her choice. Despite the justification, the resultant solitude cast long shadows, reminding her of what was sacrificed on the altar of self-respect. It was in those quiet moments that the longing for her family seeped through, though tempered by the knowledge of her newfound independence. The clamor of the courtroom had become a soothing rhythm for Olivia Hartman, as foreign and haunting as it was familiar. The months had raced by since she left behind her family's estate in Denver, throwing herself into the heart of the legal jungle. She missed the serene presence of her mother, even in her silent compliance, and the whirlwind chaos her brother, Dylan, so often brought into their lives. But the harshest sting came from her father's swift disregard, as if her departure was merely a passing breeze. Olivia invested every ounce of energy into her burgeoning career as a litigator in Denver's competitive legal scene. Her clients' issues became her obsessions, keeping her in the office late into the night. Each case won was a triumph that bolstered her self-esteem. Olivia was not just any attorney, she was carving out a reputation as a formidable force. Lucas Bennett, her insightful boss, recognized her potential and started to entrust her with increasingly high-profile cases. Her growth was as much about personal strength as it was professional success. Each victory was a testament to her ability, validation that she was more than the narrow expectations her family had set. One brisk afternoon, Lucas summoned her to his modest yet authoritative office, a space that mirrored the man's focus and intent. As he leaned back, fixing Olivia with his thoughtful gaze, he spoke with deliberation. "Olivia, there's a case I believe you're ready for. It's complex and high-profile, guaranteed to draw attention." Curiosity piqued, Olivia's eyes brightened. "What kind of case?" she asked, leaning slightly forward, her interest evident. After a moment's thought, Lucas clarified, "We're representing a client in a substantial lawsuit against Hartman Legal Associates for negligence in a crucial contract dispute. The stakes are incredibly high, and the case is catching the public eye." His words hung in the air, heavy with implication. Olivia felt as though she had been struck. Her stomach twisted as the magnitude settled in. "You want me to represent someone going up against my family's firm?" she asked, her voice betraying a fraction of her internal turmoil. Lucas nodded, his confidence unwavering. "Yes, Olivia. It's precisely your familiarity with Hartman Legal Associates that makes you perfect for this. The insight you provide is invaluable. You're one of our best." Olivia took a deep breath, trying to absorb what was unfolding. "Lucas," she started, comprehending the profound personal impact this case could have. "This isn't just any case. It's my legacy, my family's name." Lucas leaned forward, earnest and understanding. "I know, Olivia, but this is your opportunity to demonstrate your capability, to prove to them and yourself that you're not to be underestimated. This could be the pivotal moment of your career." Olivia nodded slowly, feeling the weight of the proposition like a rock in her chest. "It's a lot to consider," she admitted, her voice dropping to a murmur. Lucas acknowledged her hesitation with a nod. "I'm not expecting an immediate decision. This is a significant ask, and I respect the personal stakes for you, Olivia. But I will need an answer by the end of tomorrow." That night, sleep eluded Olivia. The ceiling seemed to echo her swirling thoughts. Accepting the case meant confronting her father, who had so easily dismissed her worth in favor of Dylan. It would also mean challenging the Hartman name, the very name that had both opened and closed doors for her. But beyond the struggle was the chance to affirm her strength and independence, even if it meant severing what little remained of her family's ties. Over the next 2 days, her mind tiptoed between possibilities, weighing potential triumphs against inevitable sacrifices. The memory of her father's indifferent goodbye contrasted starkly with her current professional respect and budding reputation, a juxtaposition as sharp and unforgiving as a winter wind, testing her resolve with every passing moment. The decision unfolded like the turning of seasons in Olivia Hartman's life, inevitable yet full of complexity. Her thoughts echoed with the muted resignation of her mother, who always seemed resigned to life's demands, and the undeserved arrogance of her brother, Dylan. But beneath those surface emotions lay a fire, a thirst to prove she was not merely the offspring of Benjamin Hartman, a name that carried weight in Denver's legal community. By the dusk of the second day, Olivia's resolve solidified like iron cast in heat. The next morning, she entered the office of her mentor, Lucas Bennett, renewed determination guiding her steps. "I'm taking the case," she announced, her voice unwavering. Lucas's grin stretched ear to ear, lighting up with pride. "I knew you would," he said, his confidence contagious. "Let's get started." As the day of the first hearing arrived, the atmosphere hummed with electric tension. Olivia walked into the courtroom, her steps imprinted by the clicking of her heels on the polished marble. Her client moved beside her, assured by her steadfastness, but her mind lingered on the moment she was about to face. As she approached her designated table, Olivia's gaze locked onto the opposing side where her father and Dylan sat. Their surprise pulsed through the room like a shockwave. Benjamin's jaw clenched in silent acknowledgement, his eyes narrowing with realization. Dylan's composure slipped, his face betraying a flash of shock before reassembling into a facade of bravado. Olivia placed her briefcase down, meeting their stares with calm defiance. She was there to execute her duty, and nothing, not their disapproval nor their astonishment, would divert her focus. For a fleeting moment, Olivia saw a trace of softness in her father's eyes, but it vanished as he leaned to murmur to Dylan. She dismissed the thought. She was beyond caring for whispered critiques. When the proceedings began, Olivia was in her element. Each motion and argument flowed with precision, her voice unwavering and her demeanor impeccable. Before the judge, she maintained unshakable confidence, not flinching under the heat of familiar eyes or Dylan's condescending smirks. In this arena, she ceased to be just a daughter or a sister. Here, she was Olivia Hartman, an advocate for the plaintiff determined to win on merit. Dylan's performance revealed his lack of preparation. He stammered through his arguments, leaving openings Olivia exploited with exacting measure. She countered his errors with clarity, punctuating each point with cited evidence and established case law. Her father observed quietly, inscrutable yet attentive, but his scrutiny held no sway over her. Approval was not her pursuit. With each session, the imbalance in the courtroom became clear. Dylan's inexperience surfaced under Olivia's diligent preparation, his arguments collapsing like paper towers struck by a steady wind. Benjamin attempted to intervene, but even he couldn't patch the gaping holes left in Dylan's case. The tide turned swiftly, an acknowledgement universally understood among the gathered parties. By the fourth session, the opposing counsel offered a settlement. Frustration carved deep lines into Benjamin's face as they approached Olivia with conditions. After a calculated negotiation, an agreement was reached that decidedly favored Olivia's client. As the papers were signed, she caught Benjamin's eye from across the room. He seemed worn, possibly regretful, yet Dylan would not meet her gaze, fixating on the document as if it might offer solace. Their silence was louder than any victory speech could have been. Her mission was complete, her point made. Usually, Olivia lingered post-case to debrief with clients and maintain cordiality with colleagues. It was her trademark professionalism. But not today. Benjamin and Dylan departed without a word, avoiding all acknowledgement. No handshake, no eye contact, just the quiet closure of personal chapters reshaped by Olivia's resolve. In the stillness of that courtroom's aftermath, Olivia Hartman felt a pang of longing she tried hard to ignore. She had hoped, despite everything, that her father and brother might acknowledge her capabilities, even in defeat. But they left without a word, their silence echoing more loudly than any spoken recognition could. The unspoken farewell settled heavily, yet Olivia took a deep breath, her resolve unfaltering. Victory was hers, and that was paramount. Return to the bustling energy of Bennett and Anth. Partners was met with applause from her colleagues. The firm had embraced her success with a celebration, complete with champagne and congratulations. Lucas Bennett, her mentor, beamed as he clapped her on the shoulder. "Well done, Olivia," he lauded, raising a glass. "You were exceptional, and that settlement is a monumental win for your client." The camaraderie wrapped around her like a warm blanket, sheltering her from earlier shadows. Her client, eyes filled with gratitude, echoed similar sentiments, their handshake firm with appreciation. Truly exceptional, Olivia. We couldn't have asked for more. In that moment, a genuine smile graced Olivia's face. For the first time that day, she allowed herself to bask in the recognition that mattered earned through her diligence and skill, not inherited or given. This triumph was entirely hers. Later, in the solitude of her Denver apartment, the vibrant cityscape cast its glow through the blinds as she unwound with a glass of wine. The adrenaline faded, leaving room for reflection. Her thoughts turned to her family, replaying courtroom memories, her father's stern demeanor etched in her mind, Dylan's aversion to meeting her eyes afterward. They hadn't reacted with anger, nor did they lash out defensively. They'd left her a silence that wounded more greatly than words could. For years, she had craved her father's respect, proof that she belonged in the world she once idolized. Yet the win against her family's firm left her with unanswered questions about her identity and her place. The city lights blurred as she wondered if she was a mere reminder of their failings or finally acknowledged as a force in her own right. Was there hope for reconciliation in the wake of severed ties? The next morning, the usual din of office life welcomed Olivia into work, phones ringing, conversations buzzing. Barely settled, she was met by Lucas, who approached with a curious urgency. "Olivia," he said, his tone laced with cautious warmth. "Your father is here. He's waiting in your office." Olivia's heart skipped, her mind racing. "My father," she repeated, striving for calm neutrality. Lucas nodded, understanding. "Arrived about 20 minutes ago. Said he wished to speak with you. Take your time. I'll handle your calls." With a grateful nod, Olivia walked down the hallway to her office, emotions roiling beneath her composed exterior. As she entered, Benjamin Hartman rose from the chair across her desk, hands tightly clasped. His expression was unreadable, a flicker of something uncertain lingering in his furrowed brow. "Olivia," he began softly, quieter than she remembered him. She closed the door, navigating the unexpected encounter. "Dad," she replied, maintaining an even tone. "What brings you here?" Standing with deliberate movements, he adjusted his suit like seeking balance. "I came to talk," he said, his voice measured but earnest. "To tell you things long overdue." Olivia carefully placed her bag on her desk, folding her arms. "All right," she said, poised to listen. He hesitated, his gaze drifting to the window before meeting her eyes again. "You were brilliant in that courtroom, Olivia," he admitted, his voice softening with sincerity. "In all my years, I've seen countless lawyers, and what you did was exceptional. Prepared, professional, relentless. You left no doubt who the superior attorney was." His admission, wholly unexpected, caught her off guard, but she held her composure. Olivia waited, anticipation mingling with a tentative sense of validation. The soft hum of distant traffic filled the room as Olivia Hartman sat across from her father, Benjamin Hartman, in her Denver office. His visit was unexpected, his presence an unnerving echo of their shared past. She had spent years striving for this validation, and now here he was, ready to acknowledge a truth that had long eluded them both. Benjamin shifted in his chair, his eyes reflecting a depth of regret. "I've spent years believing that upholding tradition meant clinging to what was," he said, his voice heavy with years of misplaced conviction. "I thought I was doing right, urging Dylan to take the reins of what I built, even when I knew, deep down, he was neither ready nor willing." His hand moved through his silver hair as he sighed, subdued. "But I've been wrong. You've worked harder than anyone, Olivia. You've earned it all, and I failed to see just how much." "I failed you." Olivia blinked, her mind swirling in the storm of his unexpected admission. Benjamin had always been the symbol of the barriers she fought against, the one who had urged her to fit into a life less than she aspired to. And now he was here, unraveling those years of dismissal with honesty she hadn't anticipated. Steadying her voice, she finally asked, "Why tell me this now after everything?" Meeting her gaze with a sincerity she hadn't seen before, Benjamin spoke plainly. "Because I finally saw what you're capable of and realized how foolish I've been. Dylan isn't prepared, he may never be, but you've demonstrated not only capability but true leadership. He stepped closer, an earnest plea underpinning his words. Olivia, I'm asking you to return. The firm needs you. I need you. The air thickened with the weight of his request. Olivia had chased after this moment in her dreams, longing to hear those very words. Now that they were spoken, she found herself questioning if she desired them after all. What about Dylan? She queried gently. What happens to him? Benjamin's face tightened, and he nodded, acknowledging her concern. Dylan will stay, but in a role that suits him better. This is about you, Olivia. It's time you receive what's rightly yours. She inhaled deeply, allowing his words to settle like dust before a sweeping draft. I need time to process this, she replied, maintaining composure. I can't rush a decision that affects everything, not after all that's transpired. I need a few days. Benjamin nodded, his expression solemn, but understanding. Take all the time you need. I'm not pressing for an immediate answer. I just needed to tell you. As he turned to leave, he paused and faced her once more. Olivia, he said softly, I probably haven't said this enough, or perhaps ever, but I'm proud of you. Watching you command that courtroom, you surpassed anything I ever was or imagined. The words struck harder than Olivia expected. For a moment, she could only stare, absorbing the unspoken shifts between them. Benjamin offered a tentative smile before exiting, leaving Olivia to grapple with a tidal wave of emotions now crashing over her. As she sat at her desk, his words reverberated better than I ever was. For too long, she had fought not just for professional acceptance, but also for the personal pride they had now jointly glimpsed. This was no longer about proving him wrong, it was about affirming her worth. When night fell and silence covered the city, Olivia lay beneath its watchful glow, contemplating her life's crossroad. Her father's offer embodied all she believed she pursued, yet it meant stepping into a realm cluttered with ghosts of neglect and challenges lingering like shadows. It demanded working alongside Dylan, knowing his skepticism and underappreciation of their shared dreams. Where she was now offered security and growth, unburdened by familial history, yet it wasn't the legacy she once imagined. Returning to Hartman Legal Associates meant redefining it on her terms, claiming the name not just as birthright, but as her own to mold. Untangling her future couldn't be rushed. The weight of potential outcomes kept her sleepless. But the choice was hers alone, an uncharted journey she now navigated with renewed self-assurance. Under the shimmering city lights, where reflections danced across the windows, Olivia Hartman pondered the crossroads her life faced. Her father's unexpected offer lingered like a question echoing through her thoughts. So now, with her freshly discovered strength and burgeoning independence, she wondered, what would you do if you were in her shoes? Your insights could shed new light on her path. Share your thoughts in the comments below. She'd love to hear them. Enjoyed the journey? If this story resonated with you, a simple click on that thumbs up icon means the world. Subscribing ensures you're here for the next chapter in our storytelling adventure. Your support fuels these tales and keeps our narrative community vibrant. Thank you for joining us, and until next time, happy storytelling.